of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy holidays, folks, last day of the year for Supervisors. Okay, we have the agenda. Are there additions or corrections to the agenda as printed?
Motion to approve the agenda?
Motion by Jerry. Second by Mort to approve the agenda as written. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We have minutes from 12/21/15.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick, second by Bruce, to approve the minutes of 12/21 as written. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. I see we have no visitors at this point. Ms. Kent's gonna talk to us. No, he's not gonna talk to us. Okay, I think we need to go into drainage on this.
We could do the 2080 agreement if you'd
There
like.
you go.
Okay, let's do that.
We had one 2080 agreement for law enforcement and emergency service signed. It's by the city of Rutland, to have the sheriff patrol for their city. So they have signed off. I've got Roxy's signature and Donna's been on this paper.
Very good.
Great.
Okay,
Do we need a motion on that?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion, we accept that.
Okay, we have a motion to authorize the chairman to sign 2080 agreement for law enforcement service for the city of Rutland. Other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
I'll second it.
You want to second it?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, now we have to have a discussion.
It's the end of the year.
It's the end of the year, last time I have to do it.
Yeah, he just,
Any discussion on this resolution from Rutland?
Appreciate them turning it back.
All those in
Yeah.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay. Anything else we do before we
Claims.
we approve claims? How's that sound? Everybody had a chance to read the claims?
well, we went through claims, got claims of $161,419.31, and zero drainage.
Very good. Is that in the form of a motion to approve?
Yes,
Rick?
it's in form of a motion.
Do we hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Bruce. To approve the claims as stated by Rick. We have no drainage today. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, we need to go into drainage to handle this one little deal, so let's entertain a motion to go to drainage.
So moved.
Motion by Bruce, second by Mort to go to drainage. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We are in drainage for the next two items.
Easier said than done.
Okay.
Ready when I sign. Thank you.
Like yo-yos. One in, one out.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On the law enforcement agreement, what you charge in the city, is that quarterly or is that an annual charge?
That's an annual charge.
But you bill quarterly?
Well, I think that's what we decided to do quarterly, yes.
Okay,
It's an annual charge
okay,
with a 5% escalation fee.
yeah,
Yeah.
sounds pretty reasonable.
Based on the last census for 2015, I believe, 10?
Yeah.
2010.
10.
Is Rick gonna be here for that, or
No,
No.
this?
So when we talked about.
That's what I wondered.
he won't be.
Welcome back.
Hello?
We went to drainage just to see you come in and talk to us.
Oh, thanks, awesome.
We're ready to talk about DD2, lateral one set reclassification.
No, DD six.
DD
Back up,
DD6.
Carl.
According to
Carl?
Approved reclassification.
Wants to
prior
get
He's
Yeah.
looking towards the bottom pretty quick.
I'm working towards the bottom.
Just breathe deep. So this is what we talked about again last week with some landowners, and the week before we talked about it with Rick, so.
I just need a formal motion to proceed with that.
And then are we gonna, just do this reclass based on a motion from the supervisors? We don't have to get a petition then from other landowners, that's kind of what Rick said. I would make a motion that we approve the reclassification prior to the start of DD six on the tile main extension.
Motion by Jerry,
I'll second that.
second by Rick. Now, they pretty much had representatives here last week, and
Yeah.
they all were.
They
We all kinda thought it was a good idea, that way you know what it's gonna cost each individual landowner prior to the project, which makes it a little better to swallow.
You bet.
Plus,
And it was on the 1 inch, right?
Yeah.
They decided they didn't
Yeah,
wanna
they
do
didn't
it.
wanna look at the half.
and I think it's also gonna speed up our...
It'll speed up our
reclass-
levying
Or our
also.
levying down the road, 'cause that's...
Cut interest costs,
That might Trish happy.
Yeah.
Make us all happy.
yeah. It might be the way we do all of our projects in the future.
Sounds good.
All right.
Hopefully it works well.
Those in favor
Hopefully.
of approving a reclassification, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Now we need to set a date for the hearing.
No, that's the next one, DD two, Carl.
I'm looking too far down on it.
Yeah, you are. That reclass is on DD
Let
two.
me get some new glasses.
Anything else you need to tell us about, Trish? A few minutes early? It don't make a difference, probably. Got the stuff that was filed with the attorney with,
Yep.
for the Shane project.
Still working on 114,
Okay.
and...
Well, that's why we want, we're
Got
hoping,
quite a few repairs still coming in.
yeah, I know Doug finished a couple up last week, so.
Yeah, Doug had some...
Brandon's been working for us too, probably.
Yep.
All right.
Did he,
Keep Brandon
did he
busy.
get that, beaver dam scheduled to get that dug out?
Yes, he went to look for it, he couldn't find it.
Well, it's probably underwater.
Could've been.
I mean, it could be underwater.
I doubt as big as that was.
Oh, yeah?
He just didn't go look at
There's
it.
a lot of water moving in the river.
Yeah, there was.
No, we could go when that rain came up north of Limerick, that oxbow they dug out, there was two dams, big ones being built in that oxbow, now, but that thing was completely underwater, and the water come up over the road, so.
Did it
On the
really?
road, halfway.
Wow,
So it was pretty wet that rainy period when we got all that rain.
yeah.
He might have had a little trouble, he'll find, I'm sure
Yeah.
he can find it.
Oh, yeah, he is, no problem.
So, yeah, then we're on DD two, Carl. And didn't we have a date picked out, Trish?
Sure,
I thought we did.
I just did a, look through it.
I mean, as a possible date.
I thought it was February
February something.
6th.
Somebody write that down.
I think so. Because the soonest would be the 10th,
That's right, we went to the
I thought it
sixteenth,
was
give you a little
the
more.
16th,
yeah.
or the 15th.
15th.
15th?
I thought it was the 16th, and it was
President's
the
Day.
15th.
You're open President's Day, aren't you?
Okay.
Are we?
I don't know, are they open the 15th, on President's Day? Yeah, they
I
are.
think so.
Okay.
Okay, we need to reaffirm the reclassification hearing date for February 15th on Monday.
Make a motion.
Motion by Bruce.
What time you gonna set it at,
What time do you
Bruce?
think we ought to do that?
What day is
The 15th of February.
You
Could we
said
do it
time
at 10?
9's
9?
probably a good time.
Yeah, in case we don't have a
Yeah.
whole lot going on, otherwise you gotta sit here
Yeah,
for...
9 AM.
9
February
a.m.,
15th.
February 15th, reclassification hearing for DD 201. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, other discussion?
It's in stone.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right, anything else in drainage? I think we pretty much covered the, hopefully.
I think we're good.
All right, I'll make a motion to go out of drainage.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay.
Motion by Jerry, second by Bruce, go out of drainage. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We're back in general session. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
It's the shortest drainage meeting we ever had.
Keep them that way.
Wow, that's for sure.
Probably can do committee reports first, Carl,
I think
because
we
we
should
better,
do committee reports.
that hearing, we'll have to wait.
They should be short.
I think they'll be quite short.
Now, that's the other thing, we could have much either. Make something up, yeah.
We could take Paul too, he'd be done in 10 minutes.
I think he's got a hearing too.
Hey, Paul, I got a question for you. Also, I guess it's on camera, but it doesn't really matter. On Lone Tree Road, down there where we meet Webster County, that quarter, or that short stretch that runs east and west, isn't that the county line?
Yes.
So, like, we have the north half and they have the south half? I was just curious.
Nobody has either half, is that what you're telling me?
No,
Oh.
I was just curious.
I think we plow it and blade it.
Do we? I didn't know where the I didn't know where the turnaround was,
Turnaround right
on the
off
west
the
end.
I think he does do that, doesn't he, Paul?
Because we've worked on that corner that's been supered, we've pulled it up on several times.
Yeah, 'cause it gets squished out there. Now they had a roll over there last night,
Okay.
down at
back
that
to
corner.
conversation.
I don't think it was nothing too bad.
I don't think it'd take very long to give reports, let's do that before we have time for a hearing. What'd you do, Jerry?
I didn't have any reports.
I had nothing going on also.
Nothing yet. I'll go with 4,
I
nothing.
looked for Santa Claus, I didn't do that either.
Hey,
Peggy,
I was looking for my book and I
Can you
didn't
keep
see
up,
it.
Peggy?
Yeah. I was trying to find my calendar.
We're a little fast there, Peggy, sorry about that.
Mort, you got any question about out front, maybe?
Yeah. Who, cleans the parking lot and didn't let them piles of ice
We
out?
cleaned it, Saturday when we were out and didn't come back yesterday because we didn't have anybody out yesterday.
Right.
And I don't know when, Dave must have done it after we were here.
Dave didn't do that, that was left. He might have shoveled through it, but,
The piles right here in front of the courthouse.
Yeah.
We didn't do that by hand, Mort, no. That-
Somebody else must have came in and scooped it away from the front then, maybe.
well, Dave talked to us, or tried to talk to somebody this morning that was out here, but he just drove right off, wouldn't even talk to Dave, so.
Our guys,
I don't know.
do our guys even scoop near the front of the courthouse?
We don't
I didn't think
usually
you
do
did.
the front part of the
Oh,
courthouse.
that's what I couldn't figure that out.
We doesn't want sand up anyway.
Anyway, we'll follow, see what happens. Okay, 8:40.
It's kinda
Let's push it a
frozen,
little
yeah.
bit.
I guess it boils down to yesterday, do you wanna spend 3 hours to get somebody up here with an end loader to
All right.
to get those 2 piles out of there? Tell me, we'll do it.
Well, we better talk to Dave and see if it was left there from the day before or what. I don't
We got a
know.
skid loader around?
That
would almost take a skid
Might
load.
be in load yet.
Oh.
But
yeah.
what they went through on Saturday was at the end of the day, and everything was ice, so I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
you could have done anything with an end, or with the end loader or a loader tractor. They used the, blades on it, the trucks, and sanded lightly.
Sure.
So the rest of the stuff looks pretty good.
Well, you
Right
get-
here in the parking.
You go down too hard with your bucket, you'll start scraping the, I mean, there's some disadvantage going to get it too clean too. I know what it'll do, it'll mark it up. I don't know, we got ice, it's winter.
That ice might
Yeah.
not come off, I didn't look at it this morning.
You'll notice it when you go out.
We get enough snow, it'll
Yeah.
warm up.
It's at least 8 inches
Yeah, it's
deep
too
up there
far.
where they've shoveled it up, but I thought maybe I would've done with a loader or something.
No,
No,
it was shoveled
it was
out.
shoveled.
He
Looks-
shoved, look,
Looked like he shoveled ice off the sidewalk and piled it out there.
Yeah, that's
It was
about
gonna get
shoveled.
moved, and then it never moved.
Anything else you got for us, Peggy? We still got a couple minutes.
That's the only thing. Normally I do, but I don't think I do today.
That's good, huh?
Oh,
yeah.
If you want to, and you guys should have that in.
Good idea.
Votes to the press.
Scott, you left on our table.
All you need to see the sheet that you gave me to,
No, I have the sheet that I gave you,
yep.
and I copied it and gave it to the board also. With the other ones.
Okay, so they got that.
Here, you want to see it?
This little thing here.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
That's
I'll take
the
that.
other one.
Let's say there were copies.
Going around.
Let me
well,
bring you
it's in there, I'm
a
assuming
copy.
That's right,
somewhere.
I'll get it later.
Okay, okay.
It
You got
doesn't-
time if you want.
It doesn't matter. I'm sure you got this in there, that's the only thing that matters.
Unless it's weird.
In fact, we can let you look at this one as long as you give it back to me, because I have to have a sign.
That infers that I know what I'm looking at.
I don't have that copy.
I got it handed in today's packet. It should be on the front of your paper we got today. Look in the very,
He looked through all that
I looked
stuff,
all
and
through
didn't
it.
find
I
it.
don't either. Mine didn't go
What?
email this time.
well, this was laying on our desk.
Oh, I got it, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
No, this was just left on our
It's
desk.
laid on top of your stuff.
There, we killed her a couple of minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, now we're legal. We need to open a public hearing considering the budget amendment. And Peggy, you want to discuss what we're amending here?
Sure, does somebody wanna make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion, second, to open a public hearing for budget amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Okay.
Motion carried.
I'll let Paul discuss what he changed as far as secondary roads, and then I'll let you know the changes from conservation, and that's pretty much all the changes, so go ahead, Paul.
If you look at this sheet, it's easiest, for the secondary roads, I gave you that with the agenda, with my stuff. I find that each Gary's still scrambling.
Got it.
We amended carryover funds, $45,000 for roads, asphalt patching. I don't wanna say out loud what that is, 'cause I hope they forgot it, it's the DOT. Our $45,000 worth of the intersection work on Highway 169 north of town. They haven't billed us yet, and if Kent doesn't tell them, maybe they forgot. Maybe. New equipment, a roller, what was a carryover 17,000 from last year's, and a tandem truck of 158,000, where we had a blown motor on one truck, and explored possibilities of, we didn't have a blown motor, we had the back end of the box on
Frame
stuff.
twisted.
Frame twisted, yeah, on that. Instead, we've ordered a new truck. I talked to them about that. The truck is due anytime. The equipment is what we'll be waiting on, until at least the end of January. Real estate, in buildings, we have $290,000 worth of assessments pending. That's probably carryover is the best way to describe that. And then, most of the construction is carryover, projects except for, the last one, which is the 391616, the LC 391616, which is the, Delana, Bridge number 72. And it's a newly programmed, it's the one that we had on fire this fall for $200,000. So the net additional for construction, including carryover, was $774,000, for a total of secondary roads of $1.2 million, or $1,203,000.
So the 429, which is the first three items of Paul's, ends up on line 22, in the middle there, the 429. The 774 is included on line 27 with some other amendments for our capital projects for the LC.
Everybody understand what's going on?
Yep.
Any other?
Okay, the rest of the changes then, county environment and education, which is on line 21. We increased that to include repairs to the Rutland Dam and inspections for the dam. Roads and transportation, Paul already explained that. Government services to residents, which is line 23, we increased that by $7,100 to include programming for elections and pay for election officials. We always have some money in for a special election, but you never know how much you're gonna need depending upon what the election is, and so we need a little bit more there to cover some costs. Administration, line 24, we increased that because of the waterproofing that we did on the courthouse and the security cameras. Those were budgeted in, so we had to cash in our cash fund to pay for them, but we needed to get it in our budget, and that's what this will do for us.
Sounds like you need to go to bed.
Under capital projects, line 27, we increased that to include the work done on the LEC remodeling and the LEC equipment. So even though we've gotten some funding for that, loans, low-cost loans and bank loans, you still have to budget for it because it shows a minus in our account.
Can't spend it unless it's in the budget.
That's right. So we brought that in.
Okay.
Did some minor changes on our transfers to allocate, to include the allocation for the daycare center. We didn't have the 5,000 in there.
Oh, yeah.
We had the money, but we didn't have it budgeted. Included some small revenues up above, nothing fantastic. Conservation had some changes, on their part, 29,752, and that was from, like I said, the Rutland Dam repairs. The rest was money. They got some REAP money, from the Sheldon Park, Nave property. They used some REAP money to pay for that, and they had farm, income, and that was the extent
Were
of it.
those repairs of the dam on the gate, Tanger Gate on the bottom? Sealed and-
Let me see here.
Was more than just the
It was unaware
inspection?
that the county's insurance company would require inspection.
Oh, that was part of the inspection too?
And that was for both dams, and the
Right.
Rutland Dam cable repair.
Okay.
The cables used to raise and lower the dam broke,
Right, so that was part of
so they
that?
got that fixed,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And that was it, and in, like I always tell you, in a perfect world, if all the revenues come in and all the expenses go out, we will use that, $1,942,538 of cash balance. A lot of that is Paul's carryover money from last year. So it makes our balance look lower than probably where it will end up, but on paper. that's
Yeah.
Right.
So it's Paul's fault.
Okay. Other discussion, public hearing on budget amendment. Something you have to annually do just to get it in safe, make it legal.
That's right. Things happen. We don't know if they're gonna happen during the year, and so the budget amendment is the way to take care of those.
For instance, on the construction, 4 of them are already completed. They were just completed after July 1st.
Yeah.
They were bid last year, so the BR projects and the C-46 and C-26 are all complete. The Beaver Roosevelt Avenue is our notorious 2-for-1 that we just left a month ago, and then the last one, the 391616, is the new addition. So really, it's old business, we just carry it into this year's, from last year.
Other discussion? I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move to close public hearing.
Motion by Rick,
Second.
second by Bruce, to close the public hearing. Budget hearing, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Now we need a motion to approve the resolution 2015-22.
All right, I'll make the motion for resolution 2015-22 to approve the county budget amendment.
Motion by Rick,
Second.
second by Bruce, to approve resolution amending the county budget. Other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right, we got the county. Okay, the next thing we gotta do is go to open public, I need a motion to open public hearing for engineer's budget.
So moved.
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Bruce, to open the public hearing for amend the county engineer's budget. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right. Paul, you wanna explain what's up here on the 2 resolutions for 2 budget hearings? Budget amendments?
I can, go ahead and explain things, and we'll open things up after 9 o'clock. But, the same thing as what we have on this, on the, DOT side, the same numbers, that we presented earlier are inserted into their proper blanks, on the, DOT side for the budget. For instance, the first, 7110, 7,110, we added 45,000 to our budget item for asphalt patching, 7110, bridges and culverts, or roads. Real estate and buildings, the assessment's the 7230 number, it's 7230, the bottom is now 294,000, because we must have had, I can't do the math very well, but it must have been $85,000 in normal account, and we added $209,000 to it. So we increased our total expenditures to little $5,142,000 when you add up the whole, all of the carryover and all of the budgeted items. That's where that shows up. Also, I did it on the DOT side, the $136,000 of federal aid reimbursement. I did include that as an income amendment on the DOT side. I never changed the income on the county side. So, there's $136,000 of carryover that you'll have, for instance. And I increased that and showed that on the second page of your handout. You should see bridge replacement funds on line 5 of $136,000, for instance. So we did offset it on the DOT side. I did not offset it on the state side. The impetus for this whole discussion is severalfold, one being a truck, one being a burnt bridge, and one being a project that we advanced. And that project that we advanced is the Badger Blacktop, that's north 3 miles that joins right onto Thor. We're planning on including that with the white topping projects of C-26 from Highway 169 to Hardy. And that's to be let in March, and final turn-in dates is this week. Therefore, we had to move the budget amendment, the 5-year plan up to reflect that. Those are the main changes in the 5-year plan itself, except one additional one a year out. With the grouping of the paving, we did elect to pave in the summer of 2016 with white topping those projects on C-26 from 169 to Hardy, and then the north 3 miles of the Badger Blacktop. But in 2017, then we moved all of the northernmost projects, and I bet your easiest choice, gentlemen, for the review on the 5-year project is probably the colored sheet that I gave you as standalone. Somewhere you should have got that in the original submission, the colored version of it. And all 3 green projects up on the top will be asphalt projects, HMA projects, and that would then be for the summer of 2014. With those projects added on this 5-year plan was project number 21, which is that local blacktop straight south out of Laverne that goes all the way down to C-20. It's about 2.5 miles of paving.
2014?
That is in 17. Excuse me, I'm a year or 2 off then. Wrong direction. It's 2 years out.
17 in the green.
Because those are the projects that were scheduled for the 15, and switching with...
Those 3 little pieces were scheduled to go now, and we swapped and moved the Badger Blacktop in now and pushed those other 3 back to make them asphalt. They're better asphalt candidates, don't lend themselves very well to white topping, and so we're planning on grouping the asphalt all in one group, we'll bid it a year from now. A year from now, you'll be looking at the plans to get them finalized and sent in for a March letting. But the important thing on 21 is with that amendment, we've obligated local funds to the tune of $460,000 of local funds because it's not eligible for anything else other than local funds. So, when we look at, what our local construction will be for that year, we've already obligated a huge chunk of it. Or all of it. And we'll have to shuttle around, some of our, bridge construction, to match, and that will be part of what will be going on with, budget hearings that I am assuming will start fairly soon as we get the 10-day notice from the auditor. But, shouldn't be a surprise, we should see it coming anyway. But the color is, nice, to see what projects are in what year, and, that's where this'll get changed, I guarantee it, but the next 2 years for paving are gonna be pretty firm, and the current year for construction is amended to reflect all of the current changes. But we're getting close, I can deal with questions, and then we can, hear from public if we...
A 5-year plan, we can always amend that, right? Each year we go into that, hopefully we follow it. but-
Yeah, 5-year plan is a good target for us. The first year one is usually pretty solid and firm because projects are in development to anticipate letting to be let in that fiscal year. The problem with the carryover projects and the problem with our budgeting system is construction season is in the summer and our budget ends June 30th. So as soon as we obligate the money, it needs to be in the year that it's obligated. And so if we bid it in March, it needs to be in this year, even though the money wouldn't be spent maybe till August, which we'd end up doing a budget amendment to carry it forward. It's, to follow the bouncing ball, it's, the best is to probably look at annual reports, because it tells you what's done, what's paid for, up till June 30th. And from then on, we could have done construction or whatever, to compare it to her cash balance at that particular month. But, it all irons out every, June 30th with, the end of the year. We have and we will revise all of the, local projects, except paving. We'll have to move things around. I think, our, BR, reviewing that last week, our BR plans are fairly secure unless the board wants to move and pull, because the funding matches what we're programming. And as long as those projects are still priority projects in the order they are, they'll be fine. The farm to market, again, is mostly paving, and, then the local funds is where you'll have to fight over the money, like local paving for, that, Laverne project, versus any other local construction for, grading or a bridge replacement or a simple box replacement.
Thank you, Paul. I think we understand what's anticipated here down the road. Other discussion during a public hearing, comments?
None.
Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Bruce,
I'll second.
second by Rick, to close the public hearing for secondary budget. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Paul, would you like to have two separate motions here, or you want one to carry both of them?
They're two different signatures,
Okay.
two different documents.
We'll take two of them. My first motion would be 2016 budget amendment for Highway Department of Transportation.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second for budget amendment, 2016 Department of Transportation. Other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Okay, we need the same type of motion for secondary road construction program, amendment number 1. Your motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Rick,
Second.
second by Bruce. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
I have, 3 copies of each of them. The county auditor, the county engineer, and the chair all get to sign them. We'll get those signatures later. Second order of business, is approve hiring temporary part-time labor positions for secondary roads and set or revised wage rate. We have another, retired, in this case foreman, that will come back and work for us. And I'd like to hire him, and I'd like to hire him at a base rate plus a health offset and an IPERS offset. Base rate is $21.13. Health offset for the family is $7.81 an hour, and IPERS currently is, I believe, $1.89 on that $21.13, so it ends up being $30.83 an hour.
So, 2 people now or 3?
That will be 2. I would like to revise Mr. Gosheners to the same rate. I did hear him on the radio this weekend, so he was out, so. We hired Mr. Goshener, 2 weeks ago?
Okay.
Yeah. In other words, they're working at something, this would be slightly,
Equivalent to what they retired at.
Right, they don't have any longevity, or there's no foreman in it, it's a base rate. It's also, they're fully trained, they know the roads, they know the equipment, and to have an invited former worker back to work, is almost a no-brainer, for us.
We
if
could
can get them.
and let us know kind of how many hours they got, how it worked out, and give us a little report on that, but I think it's the right way to go.
Again, I mentioned annual report, this morning, and it depends on the year, you can look, every employee of whatever category they logged every hour in shows up on an annual report. You don't see it, we have it, it's part of solution software, so whatever they log their time to, whether it's overtime, and sanding, salting, whatever, it's all on there, and those reports I can get, you just have to mention it to me, because total hours show up as, how many hours each part-timer had to.
There's no guarantee there. They may work 0 hours, they may work 50 hours.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
I kinda like to have them on board, especially going into tonight, tomorrow morning. I mean, tomorrow morning, there's nothing like experience when you call somebody out in the dark yet, when it's still snowing or blowing. By the way,
Still icy.
if it's still blowing and you can't see, you won't see us until it's, we're good, but we're not God. We're not gonna go out and get anybody hurt, even trying to clear snow. If we can't do it safely, we won't do it. But, hopefully, I'm hearing some reports of,
Moderating a little bit?
well, moderating or pulling back a little bit. And when they pull back right before the storm, that's usually a pretty good sign. But when they head to it right before the storm, that's the other way.
Now, your mode of attack is to get the blacktop done, the school routes done first?
Blacktops, the ordinance and snow ordinance, as we talked about, usually in June or July of the year, is primarily to get the paved surfaces open to two-lane traffic first. And once that's done, then priority goes to gravel roads to one lane, at least one pass-through is the priority.
So I have a question on your rate. If, for those two individuals that have experienced, we surely wouldn't offer that for someone that doesn't fit that category.
That's correct. I mean, these guys are fully trained.
Right.
Safety, all the equipment, know the routes, know the system. That's where we start and reserve when we advertise something substantially less. If we find a candidate that meets the qualifications, then we try to quickly bring them up to commensurate with whatever they're worth. But this isn't a guarantee, this is nothing, this is temporary part-time, this is a 4-month position, it's less than 120 days. This is what it is, no benefits, no nothing.
I just don't want someone to read in the paper that you got the rate that you got, and we get 60 candidates coming in thinking they're gonna
Right.
draw that salary.
No, and again, these are former employees, that would qualify
Right.
for something like that. Several counties pay them whatever they had before, and that can get complicated. Anyway, I picked one rate, something that's in the ballpark, and if we're worried about the longevity or a few, 20 or 30 or 50 cents here, then I have a problem.
Well, I think we have a $170,000 truck going out the door.
You want somebody that knows
We
what
know
they're doing,
we
right?
aren't gonna,
Well, and that's
we
just...
could have an accident, but it isn't.
I've tried to get an answer out of the DOT, they tried to hire 1,100 of them, you heard the ad in the radio.
Right.
But that went well.
I don't know, think about that at 4 in the morning when you're meeting somebody in the snow anyway.
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
That's not, the
We
good news.
hope that they don't come that early.
Oh, now you
I
start to
didn't
sound
put
like...
that on camera, did I?
Bruce,
Oh, yeah,
Ryan is
yeah.
already,
When
you
going
are,
west, go west every morning, and I usually am turning on N65 before the plow's there, so.
Then you get to pick 2 counties, you get to see who's out first, either Pocahontas or
Down towards
Manson,
the line, towards Manson, you know?
Calhoun County.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to
Okay,
approve the...
I don't have a name for the...
Oh,
Yeah, Robert.
Mick Hatcher,
Okay, I didn't have a name.
excuse me.
All right.
Former foreman, I guess I never went
Motion to
further than that.
approve the hiring of the temporary part-time labor positions and set the revised wage rate for those two gentlemen.
At $30.83.
Is that what it was, Paul? Okay, at that.
You got to make that true?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion by Jerry, no, we have a second. We have a second.
Oh, I'll second that
Rick's
motion.
got a second. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
About 3083.
Yes,
83.
here's the next of it. If you wanna look at
Any other
numbers.
big word for us this morning, Paul?
Oh, yeah, we got,
Oh, yeah.
oh boy, we got one of the high points of the year.
Okay, that's
Approved 2015 weed commissioners
That's why we
report.
keep you around.
Yeah, I know, and it's getting worse, by the way. Again, I answered this very similar to what I've done in the past. Our biggest weed problem is the back slopes, overspray, where you wouldn't spray on your neighbor, but it's okay to spray it in the county ditch and kill everything in the ditch. And then once the brome is dead, then the only thing that comes back is the broadleaf. I'd say that that's, our biggest problem. We did use 240 gallons of Vanquish this fall. Our first order then of 180, and we ordered another 60 gallon, and all of it sprayed. I should have brought a map showing where it was. I never thought of that until I'm sitting here.
Seems like you sprayed more in the northeast part of the county.
Denny pretty much hit his three townships pretty well and voyaged across the township line a few times.
Yeah.
The other truck went wherever the wind allowed him. Sprayed border to border, from Webster to Cassuth when the wind was out of the west, sprayed the west ditch.
Okay.
I see this will be 12 years for you. Would you like a little plaque or a little...
Well, what I'm gonna get is I have to have a commercial, a roadside, and an ag by February 1st, or you have to find a new one.
Well, you better get those things done.
Oh, boy.
Ag just has to go in and renew it, set to an hour presentation. I don't know about the commercial. I got the ag.
Hey, sounds like we
You
got
wanna help?
we got a candidate, a volunteer.
Yeah.
No, the commercial side, I have the private pesticide, but I don't have the commercial side because the commercial side infers that you have to have insurance with it.
Mhm.
And in this case, now as a weed commissioner, that applies, no, I'm supposed to, or someone, if you would find a new volunteer for it, they need to take those tests by February 1st or March 1st. Otherwise, she'll get fan mail from Ryan Kroll.
Mhm.
That has to go to an individual rather than to the department, right?
Excuse me?
That has to be you can't have the department have a license.
No, every one of our employees has the commercial roadside, but now the weed commissioner has to have on top of those things. That was by rules, not by legislator, but by rules here a couple of years ago. But I would welcome anybody else's,
Before we get into that discussion, I'll make a motion.
Once it takes part of the city, I just depending on a couple meetings, isn't it?
no, you have to take tests.
You gotta do a written test.
Don't they give you the test before you start the class, they give you the test? I was gonna choose a little thing.
Think you better start taking these tests again. They tighten them up quite
Yeah,
drastically.
they do.
Even the private one is, can make you pucker, so,
It's a little more advanced than it used to be.
it used to be a no-brainer, and if you missed one, you were mad. Now if you pass, you're happy.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2015 weed commissioner report. Looks good.
Motion by Jerry,
Second.
second by Bruce, to approve the weed commissioner's report, year 2015. Other discussion? All
I
those
bet
in
you
favor
wanna
say
see the
aye.
high part of that.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you, Paul, for taking care of the weeds this year.
Yeah,
That's
well,
a highlight.
again, sometimes there's not much to it, and other times it takes longer to track down who's responsible than to deal with it. Most of the time, on 95% of the phone calls you make on it, somebody will deal with it, and they're very civil. Approve, last thing is, I have approved lighting retrofit for Humboldt Maintenance Facility. Our shop, we use some LED tubes, from North Central Iowa Service in the office area. Most of you have probably seen those. I asked for proposals, to do the, food pantry, or the, sign area, any of the other, fluorescent fixtures in the facility, and mainly because of the maintenance side in the back, with those 8-footers. Here's their proposal. The beauty of this proposal is all of the fixtures or all the bulbs would be the same throughout the building. It has some rebates, some of them aren't eligible for rebates, and some are.
Plus you remove the ballast.
Yep, there are no more ballast, and everything's 110.
Yeah, it's not a bad program.
They've asked for other proposals, and there isn't really anything anywhere close, to the price of this. Everybody can supply brand-new fixtures, but the retrofits, there's issues. I didn't even get proposals. I don't know why.
My mail didn't come this week, Paul, so tell me what's the bottom line there, and I don't know why I didn't get the mail, but I didn't. They suggested how long it takes to, pay back, how many years for doing this.
What kind of savings they have?
Well, I didn't even look at energy usage. I looked at ballast.
Just getting rid of the balances.
Just getting rid of the ballast and making all the lights work. We have a few 8-footers, tubes left. We'd have to buy more tubes and then start buying ballast again, 'cause most of the time when we go in there, it's
It's a
ballast.
good time, because we kinda utilized the old ballast system to its fullest.
These are a fraction of the energy requirements, that's why we get some Mid-American rebates back with, on one hand, Mid-American wants you to use power and sell power and develop, on the other hand, you're supposed to reduce it, so, we're gonna do our share of reducing the power. There's no cold weather ballast, there's no anything with these.
I think it's a lot better light from these two, so
It's a brighter
lot
light.
brighter,
You can pick your colors, I think, with it.
There's a 50% saving in energy too, when you look at it.
Yeah, it's a fraction of the watts, utilized,
Summertime, we probably will.
Probably even be more than that.
But I figured, even if someday, 3, 4, 5 years out, at 5,000 for that number of fixtures, replace everything then. I mean, 'cause it's a $10,000 or $15,000 issue when you start over.
I think it's a good proposal myself. How soon can they do it?
We just have to lock it in, by the end of the year.
So they can get the rebates, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
That assures the rebates, and then they have 6 months to do
The
it.
same as it was here, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
they've already started, they weren't gonna start until after the first year,
Okay.
that they came into our office and the hallway.
So do you notice the difference in
Yeah,
that?
they're a lot brighter.
Great.
We went
Oh, yeah.
right away.
Probably 'cause you have all the lights on. I mean, most of ours, we
Burn out.
had at least one burnout out of the 4.
Yeah.
I would say
And
maybe,
they plan to replace these in here also.
I'd say maybe they clean the bulbs to the
Each
housing,
fixture will
but
be
they
there.
keeps things pretty clean, so just,
You're not gonna replace the fixtures,
No,
though, just the
no,
bulbs.
it's just the bulbs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we have an item before us to approve the lighting retrofit for a maintenance facility for $5,070. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Bruce,
Second.
second by Mort. All those in favor of the proposal, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. I think that's a real good deal. How much longer before you're gonna quit making regular incandescent bulbs?
I don't know.
I bet they're on their way out.
It's getting more expensive. The regular
I
ones
think
are.
some of them you can't even buy now.
Yeah.
Once they're running out, they're out.
Otherwise, no news is good news, secondary roads. Again, I'm sure this is just the beginning of discussion on 5-year plan and budget, because I'm sure that you'll be scheduling budget work sessions before I even can say Shazam, so. Otherwise, no news is good news, I think, this morning.
Thank you, Paul. And particularly for the weed commissioner's report. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I know.
Anything else from Big Peggy? Anybody got anything this morning? I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Bruce,
I'll second.
second by Rick. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nine
We are